Welcome everybody. Really excited to have you all here. We just launched the AGUI protocol, the Agent User Interaction Protocol, earlier this week. And so week one, it's extremely exciting to have so much reception. We got a very, very strong reception to it, and a lot of support from really great partners. So really excited to have all you guys here. Yeah, today we're going to talk through how to bring AI agents into front-end applications with the AGUI protocol. So just quick agenda for the session. First, we'll talk through what is the AGUI protocol. I know you guys all have some background, but we're going to go in a little bit more depth. We'll do a few live walkthroughs of some of the features and applications you can build with the AGUI protocol, and even go through a couple of quick starts. Lastly, we'll talk about the future of the AGUI protocol and where we see this protocol going. And finally, we'll leave some time for question and answer, Q&A at the end. Yeah, without further ado, just a little bit about us. I'm Matai. I'm co-founder and CEO of CopilotKit, and I'm joined by Uli, my co-founder and head of community, Tyler, founding engineer, Nathan, senior DevRel, and Marcus Ecker, co-founding engineer and the brains behind the AGUI protocol. So thank you, Marcus, for joining us and for the protocol. So a little bit about CopilotKit. So CopilotKit is the company behind the AGUI protocol, and I'll get to the backstory of how we arrived at this protocol soon. Short look ahead is we did not set out to build a protocol, but the protocol pulled us. So CopilotKit is infrastructure for building AI copilots, which are AI agents that are specifically designed to work alongside people as opposed to autonomously. Our mission as a company is to bridge human and artificial intelligence. We believe that for the foreseeable future, the set of tasks that are achievable by both AIs and humans together is one of the most interesting areas to focus on and most important ones. And specifically, we think that over the next few years, most of the productivity time of most knowledge workers is going to be spent working alongside these AI agents. And obviously, all of us in the developer world are living through a huge preview of that. With Cursor and V0 and all these tools, but we think this is coming for every profession, from product managers and tax accountants to insurance agents and you name it. And yeah, we're really focusing on building the infrastructure to facilitate these types of experiences at scale. CopilotKit is open source, and actually CopilotKit is the first AGUI client. No surprise there. AGUI is a completely open protocol, and actually as is core CopilotKit. So all of them completely open source, and real open source, not kind of fake open source. CopilotKit itself has 19,000 GitHub stars, and yeah, we'll get to some of this stuff soon. Tens of thousands installs, working with companies all the way from startups to hobbyists to upper mid-market to even the Fortune 100s. So anyways, without further ado, the AGUI protocol. So first, at a very, very high level, AGUI first stands for the Agent User Interaction Protocol. And it's an open, lightweight, event-based protocol for facilitating rich real-time agent user interactivity. So a little bit about how it works. So the protocol is designed to be extremely accommodating at every level, and extremely simple. So it works by having agents, as they run, emit events. And the events they emit need to be compatible with one of 16 standard AGUI events that I have listed here. Some of these events are things like run started, run stopped, very basic. Some of it about text message content. Obviously, chat interfaces are a huge part of user interactive agents. Some of them are for tool calls, for state management, and so on. We'll get to some subtlety and even some more things coming soon. But we arrived at these events really from the bottom up. So the origin of the AGUI protocol is, CopilotKit built what we come to call co-agents, which is the user interactivity infrastructure for the LangGraph ecosystem. And this integration really, really resonated in the community. And we had a lot of demand from the market and from partners to bring the same infrastructure to other agent ecosystems. And we love the LangGraph ecosystem, but we also want to be neutral in this space. And the protocol was really defined, came as a way for us to be able to do this at all. Because if we had to do this one by one, it would just be infeasible. So the protocol, after we did a couple of integrations in the ecosystem, we realized we have this really common layer. Actually, we made 3 integrations. 2 of them were relatively similar, but the third one was extremely different. And we saw that across this really wide spectrum, these events that we arrived at are all we need. So essentially, as the agent run, it emits one of these events, and the agent needs to accept one of a few inputs, and then that's all it needs to be compatible with the AGUI protocol, which then has AGUI clients built for it and facilitate all the functionality we'll get to really soon. So the AGUI protocol is an instance of what people call the M plus N type protocol. It takes an M times N problem. In this case, you have M agent frameworks. And by the way, the No framework is also kind of, I would put in that category of the one of the frameworks, so to speak, and N clients. So CopilotKit itself is focusing on React applications and web initially, but we want to grow agent user interactivity beyond just React, first of all, to other web frameworks, but also to mobile, to desktop apps, to voice apps, even messaging apps, which we'll talk about soon. A lot of these things actually already in the works, just less than 1 week into the protocol, 4 days in the protocol. So that's really amazing from really top partners in the ecosystem. So we'll talk about all that really soon. So where does AGUI fit in the protocol landscape, the agent protocol landscape? As I said, we did not set up to build a protocol. We set up to bring agent and user interactivity into applications. And the protocol kind of forced itself on us. So AGUI, you can think of this kind of triangle of the agent landscape protocols. You have obviously MCP that is bringing tools and context to agents. You have A2A for agents' interactivity with other agents. And then you have AGUI for agent user interactivity, right? So the agent talks to tools with MCP, talks to other agents with A2A, and talks to users through the AGUI protocol. Without further ado on kind of the high level, I'll have to give a quick demo of the AGUI Dojo, which is both a collection of the features, the basic building blocks that the protocol provides, and also a way to actually build new integrations. And maybe we'll talk about that soon. Just 1 second, I'm looking for the right screen here.
In the meantime, I can add the reason we call it the dojo is because it's the sort of testing and battleground for new integrations to see that they really meet the standard for being AGUI compatible.
Yep, exactly. So the dojo, we'll get to that really soon. It's a bunch of the basic building blocks, and so it's good to be able to see what those building blocks are. But if you're implementing AGUI into a new environment, you can treat the dojo as basically a checklist of items. And you know that if you implement each item in the checklist, and if it's working on your local environment in this checklist, you know that every application that you could build with AGUI, you can build with your implementation. So that's really awesome. And that way. So by the way, everything I'm showing here is linked in the AGUI protocol GitHub homepage. So we have here at the bottom the agent frameworks, and we have the landing pages for each. So we'll try to kind of accommodate all the different ones. So we'll do some things in one framework and other things in another framework. So let's start here with Query. These landing pages also have the quick starts, which we'll get to soon. But if you scroll down here, you have what we in this page call the feature view. This is the dojo. So each item here, this is a bunch of the kind of most basic building blocks I'm going to walk through really soon. They're all kind of hello world size code snippets. So each one is 50 to 100 lines of code or so, really simple, focused, just showing one feature at a time, one type of functionality at a time. And then after we do that, we'll go through an example app, kind of another kind of hello world style app that uses a bunch of these building blocks together, so you can get a sense of what that looks like. And by the way, when I stopped sharing the screen, I saw we're now at over 200 people just on the Zoom, and we have more people on Twitter and LinkedIn. So really excited to have all you guys here. It's again very exciting to have so much support just a few days into the launch of the protocol. So thank you all for being here. Really excited to build with you and grow this protocol. So anyways, without further ado, obviously the first building block, kind of first but not least, is chat. Right, chat has emerged as one of the most important building blocks in agent user interactivity. We've come to think with CopilotKit, after working in this space for over a year and a half, we've come to think of chat as essentially Slack with an agent, right? Just like when you talk to another human, another coworker, use Slack, the chat interface is how you communicate with this agent. It's not the only interface, but it's the communication channel. And it's essentially communication between two intelligent entities. So anyways, we have chat here. That's enabled for every AGI protocol. We threw in here front-end tool calls. We're setting the background to some gradient just to keep this interesting. So let's make it more purple or something. And hopefully it all works well. So yeah, so this is enabled by AGUI clients, right? And CopilotKit, like I said, is an AGUI client. It provides the full spectrum from fully headless UI, which gives you just the data inside of these elements that you can then render as you want, and also pre-built components that you can customize as you want. So kind of the full spectrum there, and not just text, but also all the other stuff I'll get to really soon. So next example is human in the loop. So here we have an agent that's designed every time you give it some task to come up with a plan and give it to the user for review. And the nice thing here is that the input into what you see here is just fully general JSON data. It can be anything. The output, the data that goes back to the agent, is also fully general JSON data. And what you render here is fully custom components, right? So you have kind of full control over all the specifics, and the AGUI protocol and the CopilotKit framework kind of take care of all the glue in there. And again, CopilotKit is just the kind of first client for AGUI out of actually a bunch that are in progress right now. So here, I'm now going to select the steps that I wanted, and the agent can see what I selected. So to go through the code here, just really briefly to show what that looks like, we have on the front end this hook called use Copilot action, and it specifies the arguments that we want to get. This is through the AGUI protocol piped back to the agent backend, so the agent backend can see what we have here. Then we have this render and wait for a response callback that you just return any React component you want. You get as input the arguments, and with all the streaming taken care of automatically, security as well, which we might get a chance to get to. Some fields maybe you don't want to transpire across the stack. And then you have this respond callback. So when the user has clicked the button, whatever you want, you can just respond. This also has a variant that is outside of the chat. So this is an in-chat variant. There's also out-of-chat variants for basically all the things we'll show here. So that's another one of the building blocks, human in the loop. Another building block is agentic generative UI. In this, the purpose of agentic generative UI is rendering the agent's state as it is executing. So all of us who have used these kind of longer running agents know that this is extremely important for a couple of reasons. One, to keep the user engaged, right? If you're just looking at a spinning wheel for a minute, 2 minutes, that's doesn't work as a user experience. But honestly, even more importantly, this allows for agent steering, right? So if the agent goes off the rails on the wrong track, you can see it doing so and kind of bring it back on track using some other functionality we have in store. So yeah, this is pretty important. Again, the input here is just whatever the state is. Let me quickly go through the front-end piece here. We have this use co-agent state render hook with, again, this render callback. We have the state. Again, all the streaming is taken care of. Security is taken care of if there are fields that should not make it from the agent state back to the front-end state. And then you just return whatever React component you want. So yeah, and this is reactively updated as things update in the agent state. So extremely simple to implement these things. Those of you who've worked with agent UI know that agent UI can be extremely painful if you don't have the right abstractions in place. So yeah, this is something we've arrived at over time, hearing from the community over the last year and a half from many thousand developers across different parts of the industry. Another quick example is tool-based generative UI, and this shows how you can show just native components in the chat, not just text, right? So yeah, generative UI, really critical component here. And these components, as you can see, they can interact with the entire application. So it's not just relegated to chat. These are just fully native parts of the application. Another nice example is shared state. And shared state allows for fully sharing the state between the front-end application and the back-end agent. So we have here a recipe builder as this kind of hello world example. And let's just let's use one of the suggestions. We'll do whatever. Chocolate mango. I don't even know what this thing is. Praline dessert. Does anybody know what this thing is? anyways, you saw that as this thing is rendering, the state of the agent is updating, and so is the state of the application in real time. And the synchronization works in both directions. So let's say has heavy cream. Let's say I wanted to make it dairy-free vegan instead. I could tell it, respect my new preferences. And let's hope the demo gods shine on us today. Yeah, so it saw what I edited here, created a new recipe without the cream. And so the state synchronization works both ways. Again, there's a lot of plumbing under the hood that as developers building applications, you don't have to worry about. So if I go to the front end here, we have this really simple React hook for React application, use coagent, that provides state and set state, just as if it was a local React hook with use state. You have now use coagent, and the state and the set state are now bidirectionally synced with the agentic backend, again, with streaming taken care of, with security. If some fields you don't want to be brought to the front end, you can designate that really easily. Yeah, and that just works essentially. And then maybe last kind of building block demo for predictive state updates. Let's write a story about pirates. I'm gonna wait for it to write the story, and then I'm gonna make some editing and show you guys what that looks like. And again, these are all experiences you can extremely easily build into your applications with any AGUI compatible agent on the back end. And actually multiple agents at the same time as well, which is really interesting. Maybe we'll get to that in a future webinar. So we have this thing, it even gave us a good suggestion, so I'm just gonna go with it. Change the name of the pirate to George. So there we go. It's changing. It even knows to change the gender and the name. And so as the state of the agent is changing, this is streamed again in real time to the front end to facilitate these types of interactions. So yeah, so that's the basic building blocks. And then to show an app that can be built using these building blocks, I'm going to show this research canvas. So this is an agent name application. So let's do a research. Does anybody have ideas for what to research? Anybody in the... Let's do what I wish I remember the name of that dessert. What is that? What are some mango-based desserts? Let's just do that. And let's say we know the type of structure we want here. We want, the history of desserts maybe at first. We want, I don't know, mango origins, evolution over time, and then modern popular dishes. And I can tell it to, help me with this research. And so what you'll see here is first you see an instance of agentic generative UI. So as the agent is searching the web, you can see what it's doing. I can build that really easy into our application. Soon as it will come up with resources, what we'll see is, yeah, there we go. The resources are reflected in the application in real time. And these, again, fully native application. You can do here whatever you want. And facilitate editing, whatever you want. Now it's starting to write the research draft. And you see that it's respecting the structure that I set for it because it could see the state that I had there to begin with, right? So this is both bidirectionally shared state. Yeah, so we have the history of desserts, mango origins, everything we asked for. And maybe a quick example of human in the loop. Let's say I wanted to, delete the least prestigious resource. And it knows it's a destructive operation, so it uses human in the loop to do this. And again, this is the UI you see here. It's just for this hello world type application purposes. You can render here whatever you want, and the data doesn't have to be just yes and no. It can be anything you want. So this is all using Crui agents and also Tavili for search under the hood. So shout out for Crui and Tavili. Yeah, so that's the first part of the demo. Now I'm gonna hand it off to Tyler, if you're ready, Tyler, for showing off a quick start using LangGraph this time. So by the way, I forgot to cover the frameworks that are already compatible with AGUI. So just to list them, and thanks all these great folks for working together over the last year and a half to build these functionalities. So LangGraph, Crui, AG2, Mastra, and Agno coming very soon. And actually already in the works is Bedrock Agents by AWS. If you guys are interested in contributing, there's another session in 40 minutes from now in the next hour the first working group. So you can find that link in the AGUI protocol website. Yeah, we're excited to expand this to new domains.
Yeah,
So
cool.
without further ado, go ahead, Tyler. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll jump in there. Hey guys, founding engineer here over at CopilotKit. Really excited to kind of give you guys a little bit of a tutorial about how to get started. So as you've been seeing today, AGUI is a really flexible protocol. We've built out a collection of different integrations by default, and we're going to show you a couple of those today, but it's really important to just remember you can kind of build it with anything that you want. So today, what I'm going to be doing is I have a boilerplate Next.js application. I just ran create next app, and we're going to run our CLI against it to get started quick. So we built out the CLI just to kind of scaffold out things. The agent ecosystem is really complex. So basically, we're just doing all the heavy lifting for you to get started really quickly. So today we're going to be doing LangGraph, but you can see here we have a collection of different integrations, things with like Crew AI, Mastra, AG2, and you can even like get a MCP client directly in your application. These are kind of some of the quick starts that we have today. And by the way, I've been answering questions a little bit behind the scenes. Please, other panelists, I see a bunch of questions coming through. Go ahead and answer those as we're kind of going through here. Yeah, so we're just going to go through the process here. So we're going to select LangGraph. We don't have an existing LangGraph agent. You can connect this with any running LangGraph URL. So you just give us the URL and we'll connect you up directly. But say that we don't have anything. We don't even have an agent. So we're going to get started with TypeScript today using LangGraph TypeScript. I'm going to stop sharing so you don't steal my OpenAI API key. So give me 1 second while I grab that. And then we'll continue from there.
Very smart, Tyler. And by the way, for those listening, you can find that CLI command. It's really simple. It's npx CopilotKit in it. But you can also find this in the landing pages that are linked on the AGUI page. It's right there if you saw it before.
Yep. And, we're using under the hood, Shadcn has a component registry. We're using that to scaffold out our UI, but we're also going to be pulling in a starter agent from LangGraph. This all uses AGUI to communicate between your front end and your back end. When you're using LangGraph, you don't even know it, but you're using AGUI. Same thing with Crew AI, Mastra, AG2, all of these big agent frameworks. So just going to let this install. I'm kind of on slow internet right now, so the dependencies are installing a little bit slow. We'll give that a second to finish up. Any questions in the chat that might be good to answer right now?
I see one question: can you invoke a LangGraph file instead of a URL, or do you need the URL? So you can do any combination essentially. So you can do a URL that is locally on your computer using LangGraph up. You can use LangGraph platform URLs on LangGraph's cloud, and you can also use Fast API if you just want to host the LangGraph yourself.
Yeah, that's great. That's exactly right. So we finished up. Now I'm going to go ahead and run our agents. This is going to open up LangGraph Studio for us. So let's give that a second to finish up. And I'm also on the other side just going to go ahead and start our UI. We can see here that looks like LangGraph Studio opened up in Safari for some reason, which is new. Give me 1 second to open up in Arc. Do this. By the way, shout out to Arc, great web browser. If you haven't used LangGraph Studio before, or you aren't familiar with LangGraph, LangGraph is a graph-based solution. It's like a finite state machine, essentially. And these are nodes, right? So we have a really, really simple LangGraph on the right-hand side here. We can submit a message, talk with it. Nothing really crazy happens, right? But now we're going to add agentic chat on top of that, as well as what we call front-end tool calling, which allows your front end to call tools from your agents. Or rather your agent to call tools that get activated in your front end. So I'm going to go ahead and start our UI as well on the other side here. And we're just going to open this up. As you can see, this is just a vanilla Next.js application. Nothing really crazy going on here. And I'm going to try to minimize the speakers here. What we did is we added in a new endpoint at /CopilotKit. And we have a pretty simple application. We can add proverbs. We can delete proverbs. But since we integrated with CopilotKit, we also scaffolded out all of this UI. On the right-hand side here, this is CopilotKit. This is all of our UI. This is actually the state of our agent here. So these proverbs are directly the state of our agent. And as we talk with it, I can say, hey, it's able to see all of this. I can say, what proverbs do you have? Or actually, I can say, like, set the theme to orange, for example. Let's go ahead and do that. And that's going to call a front end tool to change the whole theme of the application. You can see all of our proverbs are a nice orange. Now let's go ahead and ask it to write a proverb. So basically what this is doing is it's calling a tool that's able to update the state of our agent. And this is bidirectional. So as the state gets updated, it gets updated in our agent. It also gets updated in our UI, which you can see here. So it added a new proverb there.
Tyler, do you want to maybe expand the window of the agent a little bit?
Yeah, I just wanted to show off the threads, but we'll come back to that here in a second.
Right.
Yeah, and so then we can get the weather in San Francisco. And this is what we call generative UI. So basically, this is all content generated by the LLM itself. And then we populate that in components that you define as well. And all of this kind of communication is kind of handled behind the scenes with AGUI. So the only thing I want to show you is just that there's no smoke and mirrors here. If you go back into your threads, you can see that we're exactly talking with this lane graph directly through CopilotKit. All of these turns are happening and activated by CopilotKits. So like, for example, when we set the theme color, you can see, oh, we called a tool. Or when we added a proverb, we call it a tool. And you can see the actual state at these different locations in the actual graph itself. So I can click the view state. And you can see our proverbs inside of here, down at the bottom. Yeah, so that's kind of CopilotKits. I'm going to show you some code now. And then after that, we'll wrap up, answer some questions, and go from there. So in our UI, I'm kind of ad-libbing here, so it's a little bit dangerous, but I'm just going to add a new handler. I'm going to add a new function, essentially. These functions get defined on the front end and get bound to the LLM through LangGraph as tools. So you can see here that theme color that we were setting earlier. We have another one that's basically just calling a handler, and it's setting some state in our application. But let's do something like really simple, just so you can kind of get an idea of what exactly that will look like. Let's add another one, and let's just say cheers. So when we call this, we're just going to say cheers. We don't need any parameters. And we're just going to alert with cheers. So basically, when this gets called, we should see a little prompt in my browser that says cheers. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. We'll reload the page so that we get those tools bound in. So now I can say cheers. We can see that gets called automatically. It's really just that simple to add tools and kind of build out UI. Just to give you some context about how generative UI works, and we'll wrap up from there. Generative UI is essentially just give us a component, and then we'll use the arguments from the tool to render that component. So you can see here, I have this weather card. The args come from the LLM, and these are essentially just coming directly from the LLM. All of this content is. And behind the scenes, we have a sun icon. You saw the sun icon, and we're generating the weather as well. So yeah, that's a quick introduction to how to get started with CopilotKits, and this is facilitated by AGUI. Atai, do you want to take it from there?
Yeah, thanks so much, Tyler. This was awesome. So I know we have a bunch of questions. We're going to get to them really, really soon. I'm just going to quickly get to kind of the future of AGUI. And by the way, what you guys all saw here is kind of like the surface level of what you can build. But over the last year and a half, again, we've worked with thousands of developers across different parts of industry, and we've really built. We've basically come up with the building blocks so we've seen as necessary to build really varied types of applications. So all the way from kind of these coworker copilots that you saw now to SaaS copilots that help you navigate really complex applications. So kind of really the full spectrum of copilots. Yeah, and basically when you reach for something, you will find it in our docs. Again, CopilotKit is kind of the first AGUI client. All right, so the future of AGUI. So basically more and more is in short. So first, more SDKs. So we're working alongside the community to bring AGUI to more front end, more different types of front ends. Right. So right now we have CopilotKit as the React front end. Actually, AWS is already working on a messaging-based front end, which is really exciting. For those who don't know, like I did not know, there is a new protocol called RCS that brings a lot of magic that's available in WhatsApp and WeChat. Basically, lets you almost have an application inside of chat. Yeah, can now take any of these AGI compatible agents and serve them very soon through text message interface, which is extremely exciting. And also more frameworks, right? So we have support for the frameworks we listed. Basically have a lot of the open source ones, and we're working right now. Also, Amazon is working on Bedrock agents support, and looking forward to soon have more to announce the other frameworks. But again, everything here is open source, so all of you guys are welcome to contribute support for other frameworks you want. It's generally really not very hard. It's generally no more than a week of work. Usually can be even a lot less than that per framework. And with a Dojo, it's very easy to do that. So we're going to have more frameworks. And really the idea here is to have support across the stack for all the frameworks, and also for the no framework route, having kind of more, you can kind of wing it yourself right now, but we want to make it a bit more streamlined. And really just accommodate kind of the different corners of the market demand. And then finally, really growing the community. This is an open protocol. We are really, huge proponents of open source software. Really, we think this is a new part. This is a new type of software, and you need to define for it new pillars of the tech stack. And really, this is what we're trying to build here. Yeah, so soon we're going to get to Q&A. And honestly, I already saw a bunch of questions. Maybe it's a good point to connect to that. And I'll have also, while we do Q&A, I'll have this screen kind of on. So a lot of folks have asked, let me see here. I saw.
Yeah, we have a million questions. Start getting through them.
Yeah. So a lot of folks have asked if, like, what you need to pay for, if you need to pay for anything like that around CopilotKit. So again, CopilotKit is the first AGUI client. It's for React applications, and it's open source. CopilotKit itself has a backend component called the Copilot runtime that is itself also open source. So you can self-host everything, and then you self-host it and you own it. And CopilotKit also provides a managed cloud solution that lets you kind of do this, really easy quick starts like Tali showed. Yeah, so it can do either one. So, unopinionated, and everything here is very intentionally and permanently open, MIT license, yeah, designed for community to contribute. And thank you for all the amazing contributors we've had, CopilotKit already over the last year and a half. We've had about, I don't know if hundreds, maybe, lots of contributors that we're extremely grateful for.
Atai, there's a question about how AGUI is different from the AI SDK in the Q&A.
Yeah. So it's basically open-ended and designed for any framework integration, right? So that's the biggest thing. And actually, the Vercel AI SDK is one of the frameworks we want to support. So Vercel SDK, you can look at it as the AI SDK part and some UI integrations parts. So CopilotKit, sorry, the AGUI will have the AI SDK as another framework that integration. And yeah, basically it offers functionality that has some overlap, but across much wider part of the stack, and also focusing not just on Next.js applications or even just web applications, but really kind of going wide for agent user interactivity. That's what we see as our mission as a company, bridging the gap between human and artificial intelligence. For those who kind of missed my spiel in the beginning, we really believe that the next few years, this is what software will look like, what programmer software is now looking like, right? So we've all gotten used over the last couple of years to Cursor and Windsurf and v0.dev and Replit Agent, Bolt.new, all these really amazing products that are making a huge impact to how we all do our day-to-day work as engineers. And the same type of technology, I think, is going to be coming to every type of industry. And we really want to facilitate this across the stack. So hope that answers the question.
And we also had quite a few questions about more languages being supported. I can scroll through and find the specific ones. But yeah, you want to talk briefly about that?
Yeah, so actually we're gonna have a session in 25 minutes on the next hour about the first working group for AG1. We're gonna go in a little bit more depth the underlying, technical architecture of the AGUI protocol and the different components there. So that could be a good session to join if you're really interested in that. But to really answer simply, the protocol is agnostic kind of across the stack. So the core, it's a protocol, first of all. Like what matters is the spec. So anybody can go and implement this in any language, any environment. But generally speaking, it's also very easy to have cross-language interaction using this protocol already. So we already have support for agent frameworks that are written in Python and in TypeScript. So if you're looking to support, and these are obviously kind of the main ones on the agent framework side. On the front end side, we currently only support TypeScript, JavaScript, React landscape. But as I said, we do plan to expand this over time, and welcoming community contributions on that.
I just wanted to say one extra thing on top of that, Atai, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
To make it super clear, so we demonstrated CopilotKit today. CopilotKit was our original project. This is how you can render basically agentic interactions. And there are lane graphs, there are crews, all these agent frameworks. AGUI is different from both of these things. It sits between all of the agents and all of the clients, or CopilotKit essentially. CopilotKit is just one example of a client that you can build with AGUI. So like, for example, we have some people that we're working with that are writing text messages to talk to agents. They're doing that through like a WhatsApp integration. So like CopilotKit is kind of one spectrum, and AGUI is really generic. It can kind of scale to any use case. So any agent framework can easily emit AGUI events. Any client can listen to and render those events. So what we were showing today is essentially one client that we personally believe in really heavily, which is CopilotKit. There's also these backend agents that exist, and you can kind of choose your own and emit those events. So I just want to give that context to everyone. There's been a couple of questions that are like, does this work with TypeScript? Does this work with Python, Go, Rust? It works. It's a protocol, so it can come from any language and it can be received by any language. It's really up to you how you want that to look. CopilotKit as a project is a React-based project right now, but we're going to be expanding that out. But AGUI as a protocol can come from anywhere and be received by anything.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification, Tyler. And yeah, one of the reasons we built this protocol is to be able to expand to multiple front ends, because without that, again, you have this n times n problem, becomes extremely infeasible. But with the protocol now we can much more easily expand to other front ends. All right, let's see a bunch of other questions here. I'm a software engineer, and I want you to share your thoughts on what's happening in the industry, the huge layoffs. Oh, well, I don't know. That's can't really comment on that. The question of where AGUI fits in the with MCP. So essentially, you can think of the protocol landscape as you have agents to tools and to context. That's one kind of arm of the triangle. That's MCP. Agents to other agents, you have their A2A and also ACP by IBM. And then CopilotKit is AGUI protocol. That's agent user interaction, right? So that's agents talking to front ends of different kinds. That's where humans are on the front end by definition. So yeah, so that's kind of where it fits. So to make it short, you can have a single agent use MCP to connect to tools and context, that same agent using A2A to connect to other agents, and that same agent using AGUI to connect to front-end applications. And by the way, part of what CopilotKit provides is actually a whole layer of services built on top of all this agent user interactivity. Right? So if you're building these agent user interactive applications and you want to understand the end-to-end agent user interaction, CopilotKit provides kind of a suite of enterprise tools for that, right? So you can understand, what are people using your copilots for, what is working well, what is not working well, and so on. So if you're interested in that, please, yeah, check out CopilotKit. Yeah, both CopilotKit and AGUI are open protocols by default. How to bypass OpenAI key input without locally installing Llama models. So that's on the agent side, right? So on the agent side, you just have to, the protocol just defines the events. On the agent backend side, you have to do whatever you want to do. If you want to use Ollama, if you want to make direct API calls to some backend, you can do any of that. When Tyler demonstrated before, that was a LangF agent. That was it's a starter agent. that we have built into the CLI experience that uses OpenAI, but it doesn't have to. It could use anything you want. There's a bunch
a couple extra things. We have a couple of questions about how hard is it to add AGUI to X. We're gonna be having a working session, I think, right after this, about 20 minutes, if that's my understanding. Atai, is that correct?
Yeah, and on the next hour. So the link to that, if you want to join, is in the AGUI GitHub page at the very top and also the very bottom.
I'll send it right here also.
Okay,
and that one we're going to show like how to contribute to AGUI and how to implement
Yeah.
more
And
integrations.
wanted to add one extra thing, which is voice. We're talking a lot about voice and how that's kind of gonna play as a interface in the industry. Atai, do you have anything that you want to talk about with that?
Yeah, so what I said is we're very, very bullish on voice interfaces in the long term. There's still some challenges to be solved in the short term, but yeah, we do foresee voice being a main modal of agent user activity. So maybe I'll leave it at that for now. But this is yeah, something we've experimented with a bunch of times. Actually, the existing CopilotKit client does have some voice-over support. Well, it has voice to text and text to voice. It does not yet have voice-to-voice support, which I think does have a lot of potential. But yeah, I think yeah. Again, kind of going back to that, maybe I'll comment a bit more high level. For those who were here earlier too, I mentioned that we think of the chat interface as basically Slack with an agent, just how you communicate to this other intelligent entity that is working alongside you and helping you to do things. So voice kind of takes it from Slack with an agent to almost pair programming with this agent that is almost sitting next to you, except virtually. So yeah, so that's why I think this is a really powerful model. If you can just co-work with this agent as naturally as you would with a human. So people asking support for other frameworks. Yeah, so we again to just name the day one support frameworks, and these are all listed also on the protocol GitHub homepage. Launched with Mastra, AG2, LangGraph, CrewAI, and very soon Agno, and also very soon Bedrock agents. And yeah, we'll expand very soon in the near future. Would love to get a contribution, so that please join the next session if you're interested in that. To the OpenAI Agent SDK, Google ADK, Cloud4 Agents, and yeah, any framework you think is great.
Atai, and someone else asked if when you install the CopilotKit CLI, does it install AGUI?
Yes, under the hood. Yes, so under the hood, CopilotKit uses AGUI, but you don't have to worry about it if you're using it. You can just do one npm and all the dependencies are kind of installed for you. Add Rust. By the way, yeah, huge fan of Rust here too. So if you want to have an agent built in Rust, I'm not familiar with any agent frameworks or for Rust, but I'm sure there are a bunch. It's really easy to do that. So we have an example again. If you go to the AGI GitHub page, there's a link to the documentation that has both the full spec and also a really great kind of detailed instruction set of how to implement AGI servers of there's two examples of this, Python and TypeScript, so you can kind of pretty easily extrapolate to other languages. Any other top questions to answer?
There's a lot of questions about frameworks being added. And so if you're interested in that, that's what the next session is for, to basically walk through how to connect frameworks to AGUI.
Yep. Yeah, that's going to be the next one for all the ones that are not yet supported. All the ones that are supported, you can just either use the CopilotKit CLI, or if you just go in the AGUI GitHub homepage that I keep referencing, there's a table there with all the currently supported frameworks, and each one of them has a link to kind of a getting started page that shows examples for that framework, and get documentation links, CLI commands, everything you need to kind of get started. And yeah, a bunch of people I see still asking like how difficult it will be to integrate to a new protocol. It's essentially a few days of work at most. So it's not very difficult, which is really exciting. So that you can just a few days of work bring all this functionality to a new environment.
Yeah, and everything that we've shown today, like everything I was showing with the CLI that helps you get started with LangGraph, if you do those like 1 or 2 days of work to add in the protocol on top of an agent framework of your choice, then you get all of the features that we showed you today. So that's the benefit of that.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can have
And
generative
soon
UI,
all
shared
of the
state,
clients as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
So
is
yeah, that's really exciting.
incredible. Someone asks, can you describe CopilotKit technically? What will it look like implemented in an existing app? Is it a JS library?
Yeah, so it's a TypeScript JavaScript environment library. It has front-end SDK that offers both headless UI layers to just get the data that you want to present if you want to render it fully yourself, as well as we have React UI, which with pre-built components that you can customize with custom CSS or passing custom subcomponents. So kind of having full support for the full spectrum of what you might want to display. There's a bunch of hooks that are defined. You saw some of them in the demos today that aid in this agent user interactivity. And there's also the Copilot runtime, which is a backend component basically a backend for running the agents that is open source and relatively easy to self-host. There's also the Copilot platform, which is a kind of closest counterpart to the open source environment, which offers a hosted version of this Copilot runtime, as well as a bunch of additional functionalities, like I mentioned before, that let you bring these types of applications to production at the highest levels. All right. Any other questions from the folks who are keeping track on the chats that we should answer before?
Last question from Hassan. I think it's an interesting one, which is, do we plan on building a framework for WhatsApp, iOS, or Android, or are we leaving that to the community? I think we have some stuff we could talk about with that, actually.
Yeah, so we kind of hinted this before. The WhatsApp integration and actually WhatsApp, iOS, and messaging, all that is actually currently already in the works by a community partner even before we release the protocol, which is really exciting. iOS and Android, I'm not aware yet of clients for iOS and Android. CopilotKit itself wants to expand to all of these platforms, but these things take time to do well, and we really want to do them well. So we're right now focusing on kind of making the React client, really, really great. And soon we'll be able to kind of turn our gaze to other environments and build really great native clients for different environments. Can AGI handle a workflow with many agents in one node? Yes, it can. So great question. You can have a bunch of simultaneous agents, and a hint, if the way you would do this is you have the CopilotKit provider. You can have many different CopilotKit providers nested in different parts of the application, and each one of them will define its own kind of agent context.
And someone asked if we have a contribution guide. I told them the next session is focused on that, but do we have like a standing doc of how to contribute?
Yeah, the docs, Marcus wrote amazing docs for folks who want to contribute. So you just go to you can go to ag-ui.com or find the link anywhere, but ag-ui.com. I'll take you to our docs with a spec, and there's really, really great instructions there how to contribute. But yeah, if you're actually interested, I would encourage you to join the next session in 8 minutes that we're gonna go along to that.
And while we have everyone here, we just put a poll on Twitter, sort of aggregating what frameworks and clients you want to see next. That's a good place to signal to the community what is the priority and what should be worked on. And please also star the repo. Helps get the word out there.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
reached almost 2,000 stars since launching on Monday, so it's very exciting.
Yeah, amazing. All right, yeah. So really hope to have you guys build. By the way, we also have the CopilotKit Discord that has an AGI channel, but also all of the existing CopilotKit Discord that is linked here. Yeah, please join, ask questions. Looking forward to seeing your amazing applications. All right. So thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and whoever's coming along to the next session, we'll see you at the top of the hour. 8 minutes.
All right.